Sounds good, Charlie. Hello, CQ, the old friends net. This is N4LQ, Steve in Shelby, North Carolina, calling CQ the old friends net. The old friends net is an AM amplitude modulation only net. We operate in the round table fashion. We'll take a list of check-ins and pass it around. The net meets here on 3715 every Sunday at 4 p.m. and on Tuesday at 6 p.m. and on 8 a.m., excuse me, Tuesday at 8 a.m. and Thursday at 8 a.m. This is N4LQ listening for check-ins.
Good afternoon, Steve, WA4LLR.
K4 GDN. WF2 Whiskey Foxtrot 2 Uniform. WB4 ARK.
KN4R.
WB4 NKL.
K1 VVC.
K4 JAL.
WA4 EVK.
WA4 FJQ.
W4M EEC.
KJ4 YEV.
Any more check-ins? Oh, that's quite a list we got here this afternoon. All right, here's what I've got. First of all, WA4 LLR, K4 GDN, WF2U, WB4 ARK, KN4R, WB4NKL, K1VVC, K4JAL, WA4EVK, W7IUC, good to hear you, Norm, WA4FJQ, W4MEC, and KJ4YEV. Any corrections or fills or more check-ins? Call now.
W4DCS. I think I doubled with KN4R.
Okay, I'll leave you there, W4DCS, Doug. Good afternoon. You are tail end Charlie today, I guess. Well, there was some doubles, but I thought I got them all. Any more check-ins? Okay, real quick. LLR, GDN, F2U, ARK, 4R, NKL, VVC, JAL, EVK, IUC, FJQ, MEC, YEV, and DCS. One more time, any more check-ins? All right, we'll go ahead and start then. It's beautiful here in Shelby, as it always is, 62 degrees and sunshiny. And good morning to everybody, and hope everybody's having a good time today. We can enjoy discussing boat anchors or whatever else that comes to mind. And so let's start the roundtable. WA4LLR to take it in 4LQ.
N4LQ and the old friends WA4LLR. Good afternoon to everyone on the net. Good signals all the way around. Band seems to be pretty quiet, pretty stable today. Temperature is 67 degrees, sunny, beautiful day. Very little breeze and nice warm fall day here in the eastern jungles of Yancey County. Running the Babcock MT5B and receiving on the HQ150 with a little help from an SB220. So just over 200 watts looks like. So we'll go down to the coast. George, here it comes. K4 GDN, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR in the groups, K4 GDN, and the band does seem to be in really good shape today. Here in Myrtle Beach, I'm probably in the lower 70s, and it's clear, and it's calm, and so far, that's not too bad. It's a whole lot better than 90 with 100% relative humidity. I'm running the Ranger 2, putting out about 10 watts, sending that to the Homebrew 811, and I guess it's running about maybe 200 watts carrier, and feeding that to a matchbox in the center fed dipole. So with that, let's see, goes to mirror. WF2U in the group, K4 GDN.
Roger, K4 GDN in the group. This is WFTU. Good afternoon, everybody. Nice afternoon. It's 66 degrees here and sunny. I'm running the full AN/GRC19 military radio setup. That's the T195 transmitter. It's a Collins design auto-tune. Sort of the grandson of the ART-13. It's completely auto-tuned and putting out a 100-watt carrier. And the receiver is the system receiver. Also the Collins designed R392. And running the whole thing from 28 volts DC. The microphone is the original for this system, carbon microphone. The model is the M29 Bravo. It's called the not the lollipop. I forgot what it's called, but it's a long skinny mic. With an element on the side, but it's carbon. The antenna is the usual 80-meter end-fed half wave at 40 feet. So all signals are pretty good. The R392 only has an RF relative dB from microvolt RF input, so everybody's sitting about mid-scale between the 0 and 100, plus minus a little bit, so pretty good signals and quiet, and band is quiet. So buddy, it's your turn. WB4ARK and the net. This is WF2U.
WF2U, WB4ARK. Okay, Amir, that carbon mic sounds great. For a carbon mic, I guess it's doing an excellent job. We got the ART13 with the ARR15 or R105 receiver going today, and 65 degrees here. It's a pretty nice day. Not very many clouds in the sky. It looks like it's pretty clear out there, and so that's what we got going on here. So over to KN4R, WB4ARK.
Okay, buddy, very good. WB4ARK and the Sunday old friends. This is Brian, KN4R. Beautiful Cheryl's Ford. We're at 64 degrees. And I am also on a military rig, the very manual tune GRC9 here. Helped with a little HLA 300 solid state amp, putting out about 80 watts to infed halfway, and I'm using a carbon handset, and no S-meter on this receiver, but everybody is readability 4 or 5. Most of you are 5. So, over to you, Cliff, WB4NKL in the group, KN4R.
Cliff, are you there?
Yeah, KN4R. It's WB4NKL. Caught me on the other side of the shack there. Brian was shorter than I thought he was going to be. Yeah, good signals all the way around. Good copy on everybody. I'm running the ART13 with power supply number 5, testing it out. And 62 degrees. It's been a beautiful day. Got out and walked a while ago and enjoyed it. So big group here. I'll send it on around. Go ahead, John. K1 VVC. It's WB4NKL.
Yeah, very good. WB4NKL in the group. K1 VVC. And a really good copying on everybody here today. The weather's about the same as you're all having for a change. I'm running a Collins 32V2 transmitter, matching 75A1 receiver, and the like mostly everybody else, the end-fed half-wave for 80 meters. So everything seems to be working pretty well. And nothing new to report, and I'll turn it over to Jimmy, who's probably also running an ART13. K4JAL, K1 VVC.
K1 VVC, K4JAL, nope, I'm not. I'm running the, well, I got a lot of hum going on here. I don't know what's going on. Okay. I guess I better pass it on. I'm on a 32V2 and a 75A4, and things aren't going well. The ART13 is retired till I get the right mic to run on that. Doug is working on a stem for me, so let me give it over to Boom. WA4EVK K4JAL. Sorry about the hum.
K4JAL and the group WA4EVK. Yeah, sounds like a little feedback there. Jimmy? Sorry about that. Large group in here. Beautiful, beautiful day. I've been working on noise reduction around here, and I'm going to pass it on due to the size of the group. I believe it's W7IUC, WA4EVK.
WA4EVK, W7IUC. Real good. I think I need to turn this thing down a little bit.
We're first time we've been on here. We got this Cliff came over, NKL. We got this VFO hooked up on here. So I don't know how close I am to frequency. Running a DX60 and the Bandit 2000B Drake R2 receiver. And I'm not sure who it goes to. Whoever's supposed to pick it up after me, W7IUC.
I think it's me, WA4FJQ. Is that correct, Steve? Over.
Yes, it is. Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, WA4FJQ. All right, armchair copy on everybody. Signal is just blasting in here in High Point. Name is Tom. The rig is the AF68 feeding a Tintec Centurion, about 250 watts carrier, and receiving on a 75 S3C, feeding the signal into in-fed half wave. And just like everybody else, the weather here is beautiful. Hardly a cloud in the sky, middle 60s. And since we got a big group, we'll turn it over to my friend up in Hendersonville, Charlie, W4MEC. This is WA4FJQ, over.
Okay, Tom, booming in here. WA4FJQ in the group. W4MEC. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's about 61 here. Beautiful day outside, clear skies. And not a whole lot going on here. I finally got Dennis K8 NEE's AL1500 all done and put the cover back on with its 31 screws. I don't know, I guess there must have been a brother-in-law in the amplifier business that sold machine screws on the side, and they decided to put 31 of them in the cover. So that's out of the way, and I'm actually, I got two more things to get done here before I can make that famous statement, free at last, and that is the ICOM 720, and that, believe it or not, Tom, I'm actually working on the Q multiplier, putting in the big capacitor and getting that thing to run on 262, so we'll find out eventually whether it's going to actually do any good, and maybe you can put your AF68 online with PMR8 online with the AF68. So, you know, if completion was measured in planetary distances, I'm about at Jupiter. So, all right, over to Al, KJ4YEV in the group, W4MEC.
W4MEC in the group, KJ4YEV. Thank you, Charlie. Well, we got a beautiful day down here in Gastonia. Good, strong signals. What more could a ham ask for? I've been outside a little bit today enjoying myself, so it's been a nice day today. Hope everybody else has had a good one. So I'm going to pass it on to Doug, W4DCS. This is KJ4YEV. Go ahead, Doug.
Okay, thank you, Al. KJ4YEV, W4DCS. Well, good afternoon to all. Yeah, dittos on the nice conditions, and copying everyone very well. We were up in Mint Hill, North Carolina, well, down from here actually, visiting our granddaughters. Had a great time with that, and got back in this morning. Jimmy, I did receive the microphone base, so we'll try to get you hooked up. It is pretty well stripped. It has the pot in it, but other than that, everything else has been removed, so no problem. I've got all that stuff. We'll get you fixed up. So we won't hold it. Good group this morning or this afternoon. Yeah, back to I'm going brain dead here. N4LQ, Steve, W4DCS.
Okay. All right, Doug, this is N4LQ. Do we have any more check-ins to the old Friends Net? Come now. All right. Well, let's see. Things of note here that I've picked up on. The Babcock sounds good, as it always does, Dave. And let's see, the signals are all, somebody said they're all 20 or 30 over. Well, that's what I'm getting. They're all about the same intensity here. Just amazing. Jimmy, you didn't have a hum. You had a feedback, all kinds of squealing and squawking. I wonder if you got your 75A4 in standby mode so it will mute when you key it. Just a thought. And let's see, the Collins gears all sound good. There's a bunch of them too. Anyway, I put a rope up in a 100-foot tree. I put it right over the top of the tree. I spent half the day doing that. I tell you, that was a backbreaker. And now I can't figure out why I did it. I guess I'm going to put up an antenna. I first thought I was going to put up a 160 dipole, and then I thought, well, I think I'll just make it a doublet and feed it with ladder lines so I can use it on other bands. And then I thought, oh man, that's just a lot of tuning and carrying on. Why not try a Wyndham? And then I thought, no, Wyndhams don't work on 30 meters, and that's one of my favorite bands, so I don't want to bother with that. And so now the rope's up there, and it's just waiting on me to make up my mind. The low air tire pressure light came on the truck, and it does every winter. And every winter I have to add air. I don't know, I guess the summertime sucks the air out of it. So I finally got the pump out today, and I've had it for a long time. It's a Chinese thing. It's pretty big, but it's finally gotten to where it just doesn't do much. And I'm looking for a new tire pump that I can plug into the wall outlet and pump them up pretty quickly. And I don't want something that weighs a lot, just something that's small. I've seen several things around. So just wonder what everybody else is using. And Charlie, I kind of laughed when you mentioned the 31 screws in the Ameritron. Same thing here with my AL82, 31 screws. And the vast majority of those are stripped. They're tiny, little, short screws that are stripped, and I'm going to have to eventually rethread the holes and put in new screws or something, because it's I've thought about using sheet metal screws, but I don't know what to think about that. But I mean, it works. It's just a flimsy case, and I guess that's why they've got so many screws in it. So with that, back around we go to Dave to catch up on the latest history. WA4LLR, N4LQ.
N4LQ and the group WA4LR. Man, the signals are great. Everybody's booming in here. George, you're nice and strong on the Ranger too. And the military rigs sound really good. Mirror that's the best sounding carbon mic. That's the least carbon sounding carbon mic I've ever heard. Just doing a great job. And Brian, your GRC9 is loud. Man, that thing has got it's got tremendous audio. But everybody's sounding good. And Jimmy, yeah, it sounded like the receiver wasn't muting. You just had a nice case of feedback going. And Norm, man, what a signal. That Bandit and DX60 are working out really good for you. Glad Cliff was able to get down there and get the fan silenced in that thing. Tom, the AF68 is really loud up here too. Charlie, I know you're glad to get that amp finished. I thought Heathkit was the people that just, bought extra screws and found places to put them, but maybe MFJ did the same thing. And Al, your DX60 is doing a good job from Gastonia. Doug, good deal on getting Jimmy squared away with an adjustable amplified D104. Well, let's see here. A very beautiful weekend, or today is really pretty. Well, yesterday was too, up here in the mountains. And they're calling for snow for us, I think, Thursday, maybe Thursday night and Friday night. It got down to 32 this morning when I got up. We had a big frost. But I guess it's inevitable that the cold is going to creep in on us, but we sure had an extended Indian summer. Let's see. Sun is really quiet. Sunspot number is 71. Solar flux index is 140 and the K is 1, so things are quiet and peaceful up there at the moment. A few items from this day in history. On this day in 2003, old Arnold Schwarzenegger became governor of California. And on this day in 1973, Richard Nixon declared, "I am not a crook." On this day in 1887, British Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery, one of the outstanding Allied commanders of World War II, was born in London. On this day in 1871, the National Rifle Association was granted a charter in New York by New York State. On this day in 1869, after 10 years of construction, the Suez Canal opened in Egypt. And on this day in 1800, the first U.S. Congress was held in session in Washington, D.C. A few items from this day in history. So, let's go back down to the coast. K4GDN, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR in groups, K4GDN. And that's all very interesting. And talking about screws, I think the Johnson kilowatt matchbox back still has the record. It's something over 40 in that. If you've ever taken a kilowatt matchbox apart, it's got screws all over the place. Anyway, and Jimmy, I think you did have feedback. It did sound like the receiver wasn't muting, and as you moved around with the mic, it kind of picked it up. Excuse me. All right. And like I say, I'm on the Ranger 2 and the Homebrew 811 linear, but I'm also receiving on the Black HRO 5A1. It's a real fine receiver. I really enjoy listening to that. And I might just throw out something for discussion. Being that the band has gotten as good as it has, I was looking back at my log, and there were times when on Sunday afternoon we met as early as 2:30, and then we moved to 3 at one point in time. Now this was back in 1999, so it's been a while in the past. But anyway, with the band conditions like they are now, this time of the year might be a consideration. At least maybe going to 3 o'clock. We had good luck with that before. Anyway, with that, I'm going to pass it on to Amir, WF2U in the group, K4GDN.
Yeah, Roger, K4GDN and the group, this is WF2U. Everybody sounds really great, and the band is still very quiet. And I'm actually using a headset because the T195 transmitter is very noisy. The dynamotors have their little built-in fans. It has 2 dynamotors, one for the low voltage and one for the high voltage for the modulators and the RF output. It's a pair of 4 CX250s in the output stage, and it's modulated, plated, screen modulated by another pair of 4 CX250s, and it has built-in compression, and it's factory adjusted. I didn't do any adjustments. As long as it doesn't distort, it's fine with me. And the receiver is working good, working well. I have a couple of them. This one I got immediately, obviously after an overall at Toby Hanna depot, and it was still in a sealed shipping carton with all the tags and everything, and that it must have been sitting in storage for like 15 years or so after the overall, but didn't have to touch it. It's working absolutely fine. Actually, also the microphone came with a system, all nicely packed with with a transmitter and some other stuff. Anyway, as I said, everybody sounds great, and Brian, the GRC9 is really pushing it. It sounds good with that amplifier, and I know it really has surprisingly high level modulation. Mine is sort of sounds like that, and I have the original military amplifier with it, the LV80, and it keeps that modulation with no distortion or anything, and that puts out also about 80 watts. And just have to, it's another thing that I have to re-cable again because it's all stored nicely after I used it for several years. So time to blow the cobwebs out of it. And what else? So all equipment here today is doing just fine. So with that, of course, the ART13 is doing fine too. WV4ARK and the group, this is WF2U.
WF2U, WB4ARK. Alright, Mir. Sounds like you have a very nice setup there. And like I said, that mic sounds great. I noticed my oscilloscope, which the probe is sitting on my desk, is picking up audio from my transmission. It's got a slight waveform on it. Anyhow, that microphone, Jimmy, I'm surprised that it was even working with all of the guts missing out of it like it was. Maybe you'll get a first-class amplified element or board to go in there that Doug will have, and get you squared away with that pretty quickly. My cat is up here on my desk and is snooping around the transmitter and the receiver. I think she is a little skittish sometimes, so at the slight bump or whatever, she may take off and leave me in a cloud of papers. The work that that I've been doing on this KWM2 is progressing slowly. Still got the issue on 80 meters and 40. All the other bands are working fine. So we're slowly but surely digging out most of all the gremlins in this round emblem device. So hopefully we will get this thing done soon. I think we've got some cooler weather headed this way. I think Dave mentioned that possibly some snow in the mountains later in this upcoming week. So you might be prepared for bringing in some of those plants that have been outside going through the this summer in great weather. Let's see what else we got here. Well, I guess we'll just turn it over to Brian and see what he's doing right now, and we'll pick up some other stuff when it comes back around again. KN4R, WB4ARK.
Okay, very good, buddy. WB4ARK in the Sunday Old Friends. This is Brian, KN4R returning. Well, all the signals are just terrific. Dave, that is some beautiful audio. Steve, your audio is really nice today. It doesn't sound like the Champ. It sounds better than the Champ. Are you on a modern rig, possibly? And let's see, Norm, you do have a big signal here. Here as well, Dave and others. But let's see, we had the grandkids, a couple of grandkids this weekend, but their parents came and picked them up a little while ago, so I hope to get back on the TCS here in a little bit. It's receiving, and it's keying, and it's modulating, but it's just not putting out any power, but I'll figure it out. I want to give everybody a quick Benson, North Carolina Hamfest report. I did not go because of the grandkids, but Dave Raleigh did go, and he said that there was about 20 empty tables in the building, so that's about maybe 4/5 of the way full, and the parking lot, he said, was something over half of a really good day, but he had a good day. He sold most of the stuff he took, and he did say there was a black military transceiver of some sort. He called it a Jeep radio, but he didn't know the nomenclature of it, and he said it was World War II era. So, but it didn't have a big Hallicrafters logo on the speaker. So, just not sure what he saw. But and one of the funny things, Benson is a Sunday only Hamfest. Well, Nick England, he went on Saturday, and I wish Nick would have taken a picture, and maybe he did, of the meeting hall with an empty parking lot. So I've done that at least 2 or 3 times, usually Morganton. I've been to Morganton 1 week in advance, and I've also been there 3 weeks too late. So there you go. This week, let's see, Brown Beezer, W1NZR, he's driving down right now from Rhode Island, bringing yet another load of his collection down to his house in North Carolina, and I think I'm going to go over there and visit him Thursday and maybe stay over on Thursday, Friday or so. So that's a real good education too. It's kind of like going to Mears, only Brown has a bigger building. It's not quite as filled up yet, but it's getting there. So let's see. Over to you, Cliff. And hopefully I was long-winded enough that you can get back from the other side of the building. WB4NKL in the group. KN4R.
Yeah, KN4R. It's WB4NKL. Yeah, I was had plenty of time that time, Brian. I headed over here as soon as I heard you start talking. So good deal. I got a report on the Fort Wayne, Indiana Hamfest. Me and Chuck went to that one last year, and it was pretty good. But Eric, KB9YSN, he went to it yesterday, talked to him, and he said it was down quite a bit. MFJ usually shows up. Of course, they weren't there, and a couple of other dealers didn't show up, and so he said it was about half of what it was the year before. So hate to hear a Hamfest going downhill, but it sounds like that one's on the way down. I started a project here I used to like to do. I'm putting a power steering pump on my 2000 Nissan Xterra. I used to sort of enjoy mechanic work, but not so much anymore. It's in building number 2, and it's probably going to be about a month-long project the way it's going. I have to take a lot of stuff loose and off to get to the power steering pump. And let's see, air compressor, Steve. I've just got a shop compressor here. It's a big one, 2-cylinder with a couple horse electric motor on it. So I use that to pump up tires. It don't have any problem with that. And then I can use it for other stuff too. But I think you're wanting something small. I've got one of those little small pancake compressors here. Probably might have an extra one if you want something like that. Let's see, that's about all. I'll send it on around since I've got the big group here. And Norm, you sounding good. I was going to say, me and Chuck went down to Norm's yesterday and had a nice visit. Norm's got a beautiful location there on top of a hill at Philadelphia, Tennessee, and I really enjoyed that. So go ahead, John. K1VVC, it's WB4NKL.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Cliff. WB4NKL, K1VVC. Good copy all around. And Steve, one comment that I would make about your tires, before you go looking to add air into it, if you go to the menu on your, the screen on your dashboard, you may have a function for recalibrating the tire pressure sensors. I run into that usually when the season changes. I might have one or two of them come on. It really doesn't have much to do with losing air. It's got something to do with the calibration of the sensors, and you probably have something else say to recalibrate. And talking about screws on the cabinets, there's absolutely no question that I agree that Johnson Matchbox, kilowatt Matchbox, is the all-time king, as is a lot of the other Johnson equipment. Like the Johnson Navigator must have 20 screws just at the front panel, so it can be kind of crazy. Anyhow, I'll turn it over to Jimmy there, and it's been nice getting on today. K4JAL, K1VVC.
K1VVC, K4JAL. Well, I've got the audio cranked way down on the 75A4 this time. I was in standby, but I hadn't used the rig in a while, and I've worked out on the switches some. When I get done at the end of my transmission, I'll turn the audio back up and see if it did what it was supposed to do this time. Buddy, that wasn't the same microphone stand I sent to Doug. Actually, I'm on the microphone that was on the ART-13. Doug's coming up with a brand new something for me. On a good note, today I was able to repair the furnace on my little house that I grew up in. I was afraid I was going to have to put a new furnace in there, but some water got to it and messed up some wiring, but I got that straightened up today, so good times are here again. Okay, I'm going to turn the AF back up on this thing and see what happens. I think I'm in the clear this time. Yeah, it's working good. Okay. Over to you, Boone, WA4EVK, K4JAL.
K4JAL in the group. Good deal, Jimmy. That's my trick, usually to leave a switch not thrown or whatever and end up with feedback or whatever. And Steve, I use a Ryobi tire pressure pump, little small one, but I bought that one because I had several Ryobi batteries to fit, but it has done an amazingly good job for its size. It definitely is a fairly good little compressor. That's about all I have on that, and I'm going to pass it on since we have such a large group. Norm, W7IUC to take it, WA4EVK.
Yankee November.
There's a breaker in there. Yankee November. So somebody pick him up. Fellas, I'm back here barefoot. just a little VX60. I've got to do a whole bunch of retuning. This 100 Bandit's going wild with me. Running way too much power, so I didn't turn the amplifier on this time. Let me say 73, so I've got to work some more on this 100 Bandit and this VFO where I can get them lined up and get them on here correctly. Appreciate you let me in, fellas. God bless. Take care. I'm going to sign on this one. Let's see. I think it goes to you there. I believe it's Chuck. W4FJX, I believe it is. W7IUC.
W7IUC, this is WA4FJQ. Okay, Norm, I think you passed it to me, but I could just barely copy you. You just dropped out. Good copy here, no problems at all, but a little QSB with Mir and then, of course, with Norm. Charlie, if you can get that Q multiplier going, that'd be great. I'd like to get that PMR 8 or 7, whichever one it is, off the shelf and give her another try. It'll give me a little more room in this really cramped, shack that I've got here. Steve, I got a little tire pump that you plug into the 12-volt outlet in the car. It's only about the size of a small woman's purse, about 8 by 7 by 3 or something like that. It comes in a pouch, and I've used it half a dozen times, pick up nails and stuff, and the low tire comes on, and it'll take about 10 minutes to go from 28 pounds where it triggers up to 36 or so, and you can get out and run with it. But that's about all I've got. So I'm going to turn it over to Charlie, W4MEC. This is WA4FJQ.
Okay, Tom, WA4FJQ and group W4MEC. Real good. Everybody's still doing fine there. I thought Mir's audio was down quite a bit from his first transmission, but maybe that's just plugged up here, and I don't know. And our station today is our sole standby, the Heathkit Tribes, Apache Mohawk, and a Dentron tuner to window line and a 160 inverted V. So, and I was just taking something apart here and undid all the screws and turned it over, and all the screws dropped out on the floor. So I'm sitting here looking for the screws that fell out. I'm having a screwy day here, I'll tell you. Let's see, I had a note here. Brian, yeah, be sure to get back in the PA section of the TCS and check the coupling caps, take them loose and check them for leakage. And the other thing is, if you have a cap checker that will actually read the value, make sure it reads, because I've seen open caps not show anything when you read them to see what the value is, and basically that capacitor is dead. So, and I had several in my TCS that were doing that, leaking a little bit. It doesn't take much, And those big transmitting micas in there, so take them loose and check them. You might solve something there. So, but anyway, that's what else we got. That's about it. So I don't see the other note here. I heard Wolf checking in and YN, but it didn't sound like Don. I wonder if it's a new YN. We'll find out here shortly. KJ4YEV, Al in the group, W4MEC.
Very good, Charlie. W4MEC in the group, KJ4YEV. Well, this has been my first time checking into this net since the time moved to 4 p.m. and I was expecting more noise, but I'm pleasantly surprised. Got good signals all the way around, so I'm glad for that. So I'm not going to keep it. I'll send it on over to Doug, W4DCS, KJ4YEV. Over to you.
Okay, Al, KJ4YEV, W4DCS, Winston-Salem. The Camel City. And yeah, good net today. Everybody's sounding great. What I noticed with Mir is he started out with plenty of audio, and then looking at it on the SDR just gradually faded down. Still had the big carrier, but the audio kind of gradually faded, so I'm not sure what the deal is there. And well, Jimmy, I'm glad you sent that. I've got I think it was a microphone I picked up in, gosh, where was it? It was one of the ham fests up there in the mountains, and it was a mess. I think I paid $20 for it, but the head was bad on it. And I've got it torn apart and need to redo it, so this will be, I'll put it next to yours and do them both. And it gives me something to do, so I always like to have a project. If I don't have a project, I'm not happy. So there you go. Okay, the braking station was at YN. I'm not sure. Big signal. Come on in.
Is that for me, KZ4B?
Oh yeah, I heard you, John. There was another one too, but go ahead and then pick up the breaker.
Okay, W4. Let's see. W4DCS and the group KZ4B. Fine business, Doug. Excuse me. A couple of comments. One thing I've been working on is at this operating position a series of manual antenna tuners, so I pretty well got a tuner preset for each band except for 10 meters. Well, I say 10, 20, 15, and 10. That goes to my beam. And I've got an automatic tuner that I usually use with a solid state rig when I'm on sideband. But that's an ATR 30 MF, well, it's Meritron. And I've got two others. One is for 80, one's for 40. And then the third one's for 20, 15, or 10. And I've got an AT5K that's for 160 meters. I'm going to park it on 160 only and have it preset. So, shifting gears, well, what was taking so long was making up the cables to go back, the coax cables to go back to the switches to switch between the tuners on the input side and the output side. And but I just finished this afternoon. Shifting gears on compressors. My dentist, who was a neighbor, gave me his dental compressor, which it was one big 30-gallon tank, ASME tank, and it had 3 diaphragm pumps on it. But it cost so much, and of course this thing's been in service for the last 15 years. You could buy the parts to repair them, but one kit for one compressor costs more than the compressor I ended up buying. It's not a diaphragm, it's a piston. It's 3-cylinder. And the neat thing about that is it's a 5-horse 3-cylinder compressor. With 3 cylinders, it's less torque than with a 2-cylinder, or even less. You know, a 1-cylinder really takes torque on the motor, because the more cylinders you have, you can spread it out around the rotation. So I can run the 3-cylinder compressor at 5 horsepower with my emergency generator. I can't do that with another configuration with just 1 or 2 cylinders. But I got that from Northern Hydraulics. They were selling compressors, just the pump. And I managed to steal it on closeout, but it was designed for use with a 4-cycle motor, 4-stroke, that really can't produce that much torque. And so that's why they have 3 cylinders instead of 1 or 2. And as far as portable compressors, I've standardized on Milwaukee battery-operated tools, and they have an M18, which is an 18-volt compressor that will run for a week on one battery. It's about a 3-amp 18-volt battery, but it really works good, and it's not all that ridiculously expensive. And it's the best battery-operated compressor I've seen. And so you can fill up dead flat tires, all 4, on multiple cars before you have to change batteries. So if check that out. If the thing is, batteries cost so much that the battery needs to be compatible with all your other stuff, so that really dictates what kind of compressor you have. Well, I have rambled on enough. I'm not sure, since I came in late, I can't get in my head that the net on Sunday is now 4 instead of 5 o'clock. So I'm not sure who net control is. I assume it's Charlie. I could be wrong. And but I'm going to turn it over to the breaker, if you can hear me. And if we're at the tail end, I assume we are, send it back to Charlie if he's calling the net. And if you know who it is and it's not Charlie, then send it to that, I guess. So, to the breaker, KZ4B, over.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. This is K2YN, Kilo 2 Yankee November, and we're in South Carolina, so in the northwest corner, near the Blue Ridge, and near a city called Greenville, and beautiful weather. Yeah, I bet a lot of you got that. Cool, though. Anyway, just rambling around the band here with my VFO, and I saw your signals, and I couldn't help but get in line there just to say hello, if nothing else, to everyone here on frequency, and anyone listening too. And we're pretty much... we're on an SDR radio, by the way. We're on a non-7000 and a 10-tech Centurion amp. And a new antenna here, it's at about 100 feet. So it's a ZS6BKW. So I kind of introduce you to the station. Anyway, very interesting there on compressors. What I'm looking for is more of a... big inverter, something about something I can use the next time I lose power for, say, half a day or a day, and then I'm probably, all I could cool would be one fridge and a few lights. But Helena came through here, of course, and did quite a job on things and took out my antennas, so we have 2 of them up now and more to come. Hey, I better keep this rolling. Like I said, I saw your signals and thought I'd pay a visit and say hi. And I appreciate you letting me in here. Let me get it to, I was suggested I should call Charlie. This is K2YN, over.
I don't know where that came from. All right. K2YN, good to hear you, John, and hadn't heard you for quite a while. And the other John, KZ4B, see, this is N4LQ, Stephen Shelby. And thanks for all the information on pumps. And, yeah, the tires were really low. I mean, I checked it with the gauge, and that wasn't the calibration problem. It's just the fact that they get low in the wintertime when it gets cold. And you can just count on it. And a lot of times I'll start driving and get on. Yesterday I got on the interstate and they warmed up and the light went off, and the display shows all 4 wheels, and it shows you the pressure in each individual wheel, and they change as you drive along. And anyway, the hard part is when you add air, it's getting them all the same pressure, which I like to do. I don't want to have more pressure on one side than I do the other, and that makes the tires go around different speeds. So, all right, well, as far as signal strength, KZ4B was stronger than anybody here. For whatever reason, man, you were like 35 over. Very strong signal, John. And real fine. I appreciate the information on the pumps. And we'll look around, see what we can find. We are at quitting time here, 5 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and shut the net down and just kind of open it up for anybody that wants to hang out or make any more comments. But appreciate everybody checking in today. We had 17 check-ins. That's wonderful. So have a great day. The next Friends Net for 75 meters will be on Tuesday morning at 8, and let's see, I may not be able to make it because I've got to take the XYL to a doctor's appointment. And then Thursday at 8 o'clock, and then every night on 1864 on good old 160 meters. Hope to see somebody on there. 73s, this is N4LQ closing the Old Friends Net.
Steve, I've got a comment on air compressors you may be interested in, and also I've got one for K2YN if you want to drag your feet and stick around. Basically, the Milwaukee air compressors, battery-operated air compressors, and a lot of them are like this. They're automatic, so you punch in with an up-down arrow the pressure that you want it to shut off at, and it automatically fills the tire and stops at the pressure that you have selected, which is handy as hell. It also reads the pressure that the tire's at any time. So just thought I'd throw that out. Did you get that over?
Roger, thanks, John.
Okay, K2YN, are you still around?
Yes, I am. Over.
You, I think, were referring to a generator rather than an air compressor, and I'm a big fan of inverter-type generators. I've got a big Honda 9 kW inverter generator that I love. And the neat thing about the inverter generator, and I could be telling you what you already know, but in case that's not the case, an inverter generator, you know, a regular generator has to, you have to run the motor, a regular magnetic generator has to run at a synchronous speed, which is normally 3,600 RPM. There are some that are 1,800, but even if you only have one light bulb going, it's got to run at that synchronous speed to give you 60 hertz AC. With the inverter generator, it's a crystal controlled frequency, and so the generator can back off RPM wise as the load is reduced, which saves a ton of gas and or whatever your fuel is, and because it'll idle right back to almost, like 800 to 1,000 RPM if the load is light enough, because the inverter is determining the frequency. So, you're not wasting the fuel running at synchronous speed. And so I strongly recommend an inverter generator. Does that make sense to you? And give me your handle. I didn't catch that. Over.
Okay. Oh, in fact, I didn't get your handle or call. I just stepped in moments before you checked in there, and so I didn't know some of the people that I heard. My name is John, Juliet Oscar Hotel November, in Simpsonville, South Carolina, about 7 miles southeast of our nearest big city, Greenville. Let's see what else that we'll address. So, anyway, hey, what's the name over there in the call? Over?
The handle's John, John, just like you, and the call is KZ4 Bravo, KZ4B. I'm located on Lake Norman on the east side, the I-77 side of the lake, and about 2 miles from exit 33 on I-77 north. And the rig here is a Knight T150, which is a screen grid modulated transmitter, but it's the only transmitter that has two 6146s in parallel, which is twice as powerful as all the other screen grid transmitters, and that were commercially available. And it's driving a Meritron AL82 amplifier, and has a pair of 3500Zs, and that in turn is feeding a resonant 80-meter dipole. So that's the setup here, and my mailing address is Mooresville, North Carolina mailing address. So back to you, John, K2YN, KZ4B, over.
KZ4B, this is K2YN. Okay, John, very good. I did hear them address you with that name, and it slipped right out of my head. Of course, it's, anyway, that's about par for the course. Oh, yeah, the T150, by the way, I know that night kit. I built originally an ocean hopper when I was about 9, somewhere around there, regenerative shortwave receiver. And then I mowed enough lawns to pay half the price, $40. Half the price of that, I worked to get $20. My father matched me. And we got the Night Kit Star Roamer. And I remember looking up at the, I think it was an R100 and the T150, over.
Roger, well that was a pretty decent rig, and you were lucky to have a lawn business. Unfortunately, I lived in the Mecklenburg County, which is the county that Charlotte is in, but I was a country bumpkin, and we lived on about 3 acres, and my dad made me cut the yard with a push mower because he was too cheap to buy a rider until I went off to college and my brother got a rider. I never forgave him for that. But it took me all week to cut my grass. So I could not be in the grass business like my city buddies who made a killing, because it was like $5 a lawn. But luckily I repaired most of the TVs around in the neighborhood, and that's how I made my money, and it took less time and less arduous. If you got to push more, that's not the way to be in the lawn business. So anyway, I hope you understood what I said about the generator. I have a generator fetish. I work for Duke designing auxiliary systems and generators for Duke's power plants, everything from nuclear to hydro. And I've always had a generator fetish, so I feel like I know a little bit about generators. Back to you, K2YN, KZ4B, over.
Hey, kiddo. KZ4B. This is K2YN. His name is John. Say hi.
Hi, John.
That's my wife, Carolyn.
Hey, Carolyn.
So, where do you hail from?
I'm over near Mooresville on the, I'm 2 miles from exit 30.